The desert air ripples with heat. Dust clings to boots, rifles, and the long shadow of a shooting range at a forward operating base. Soldiers line up under a blistering sun, their laughter loud, sharp, cutting through the static of distant comms. At the edge of the formation stands Lieutenant Harper Sloan, young, scarred, her left cheek etched with a jagged line that runs from temple to jaw. They call her Patchwork. Some whisper it's from shrapnel, others claim it's from freezing in combat. None of them really know, they just see her scars. And today, they don't see a soldier, they see a joke. "Deadweight," someone mutters as she adjusts the strap of her rifle. "Ugly metal," another sneers, loud enough to draw chuckles. A trainer, Sergeant Cole, arrogant, decorated, a man who thrives on dominance, waves her off with a smirk. "Sloan, step aside, just watch. Try not to drag the rest of us down." The humiliation is deliberate, public. She doesn't argue, she doesn't defend herself, she just stands still, her gaze steady, lips pressed shut. Silence has always been her shield, but in a place where noise equals power, silence only paints her weaker. Behind the firing line, Colonel Anders, a respected authority, watches in silence. His arms are crossed, his expression unreadable. The recruits whisper, "If Anders speaks, it's law." But for now, he says nothing. The sun climbs higher. The first group shoulders their rifles. Crisp shots echo across the barren ground, targets flinching under bursts of fire. Dust rises with each impact, scoreboards flashing names and numbers. The soldiers cheer, their confidence swelling. When Harper's name appears on the board, the mood shifts. Groans, laughter. "Why waste ammo?" one scoffs. "She'll freeze like last time," another sneers. Sergeant Cole grins, relishing the spectacle. "All right, Patchwork. Prove you can at least pull the trigger without crying." Every eye turns to her, phones raised, soldiers recording, already preparing captions for her failure. Harper steps forward. Her boots crunch over the gravel. The scar catches the light as she raises her weapon. But before she can fire, Cole cuts her off. "Not you." His voice carries, sharp as a whip. "We've got standards here. Last thing we need is charity shots on the record." The laughter erupts again. It burns hotter than the desert sun. Harper lowers her rifle, her jaw tightening. Her silence is mistaken for shame. Cole turns back to the recruits, his tone casual, commanding. "This isn't a playground, this is Hawthorne Range. Here we train killers, not quotas." The word lands like a slap. Quota female. The insult spreads through the group like wildfire, a label meant to reduce her entire existence to politics, not merit. Harper doesn't react, not outwardly. Inside, though, her pulse pounds, not from rage, but from restraint. Colonel Anders finally speaks, his voice calm, but carrying. "Sergeant, let her take the lane." The crowd falls briefly silent. Cole chuckles, feigning obedience. "As you wish, sir, but don't expect miracles." He gestures at the farthest target, a steel plate half hidden by heat shimmer, placed beyond the standard range. A cruel challenge, one meant to humiliate. If she wants to play soldier, let's see her hit that. Phones rise again. The soldiers grin. They're not expecting a shot. They're expecting a collapse. Harper shoulders her rifle. The scar on her face doesn't twitch. Her breath steadies. The range quiets. And in that silence, something shifts. Because what they don't know, what no one here suspects, is that Harper Sloan is no ordinary recruit. She is the daughter of a legendary sniper. She is the only surviving student of Colonel Thomas Sloan, whose name is etched into classified files. She carries not just scars, but training forged in fire. Today, she's not just going to prove she belongs. She's going to rewrite what this base believes possible. And by the time the dust settles, 10 perfect shots will silence every voice that ever called her Patchwork. The laughter doesn't fade. It thickens, sharp and cruel, until it wraps the range like barbed wire. Harper stands still, rifle in hand, waiting for the command. But the mockery comes first, always first. A recruit leans close, voice low but aimed to wound. "Your scar's showing again. Maybe cover it with mud." Looks less disgusting that way. His friend snickers, elbowing him. Don't worry, she's not going to fire. She's here to make us feel better about ourselves. Harper doesn't flinch. She stares straight ahead, eyes locked on the steel plate shimmering in the distance. Their whispers are knives, but she's lived through worse. Silence again is her shield. Sergeant Cole paces behind her, his boots grinding into the gravel. He raises his voice for the crowd. Look at her, soldiers. This is why quotas kill armies. Politicians throw us patchwork projects, and we waste bullets proving what everyone already knows. The recruits howl with laughter, some raising phones higher, recording every word. One mockingly calls out, "Hey, patchwork, try not to shoot yourself in the foot." Another yells, "Smile for the camera, show us that medal on your face." The sound is a tidal wave. Harper grips her rifle tighter, her knuckles pale against the stock. Her breath is steady, measured. She doesn't give them what they want, but every insult stacks higher, pressing against her chest. Colonel Anders watches, his arms still crossed. His silence has been her only protection. But Cole pushes harder, wanting more. "Permission to demonstrate, sir?" Cole asks, smirking. Anders nods once. Cole snatches Harper's rifle with a flourish, spins it theatrically in his hands, and fires a single round. It hits wide, nowhere near the target, but the crowd cheers anyway. He hands the weapon back with a sneer. See? Even the rifle doesn't want to follow her lead. She's cursed. The recruits erupt, stomping boots, clapping mockingly like it's a performance. Phones shake with laughter. For them, this is entertainment. Anders's gaze flickers, a shadow crossing his stern expression, but he says nothing. Not yet. Harper takes the rifle back. Her hands are steady, but her eyes, sharp, unyielding, betray the storm building inside. She steps to the firing line. Cole leans in close, voice low but venomous. "If you miss patchwork, you're done. No one will follow you into combat. Not now, not ever." The crowd hushes, waiting. Harper exhales. The heat ripples. The scar on her cheek catches the light. Her silence deepens, not weak but deliberate, like a bowstring pulled taut. Because what Cole doesn't know, what none of them can imagine, is that humiliation is only fuel. Every word is kindling. Every laugh is gasoline. And soon, all of it will ignite. Her finger brushes the trigger. The range is about to learn the difference between a soldier who trains to impress and a soldier who trains to survive. The sun presses down, hot as judgment. The air stills. Dust hangs, waiting. Harper steps forward to the firing line, rifle gripped with quiet certainty. She doesn't glance at the crowd. She doesn't answer Cole. She just sets her feet, squares her shoulders, and lifts the weapon. The jeers dim, though phones remain raised. Everyone wants her failure immortalized. Cole folds his arms, grinning. "Show us what Deadweight looks like on the scoreboard." Harper ignores him. She exhales slowly, her finger brushing the trigger. Her eyes lock on the steel plate shimmering far down range, farther than standard, farther than fair. Heat distortion twists it like a mirage. To most, it's impossible. But to Harper, it's home. Her father's voice rises in memory, calm and unyielding. "Breathe with the wind. Don't fight it. Let it carry you." The range goes silent as she fires. Ping. The plate rings, dead center. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Someone whispers, "Lucky shot." She chambers the next round. Fires again. Ping. Dead center. The second bullet carving into the same space. Phones waver. Laughter falters. The scoreboard flickers, flashing 2 bullseyes. Harper's breathing doesn't change. She fires a third time. Ping. The sound is sharper now, cutting the desert air. A soldier lowers his phone, his jaw slack. "No way." Fourth shot. Ping. Fifth. Ping. The scoreboard glows. 50.0. Perfect run so far. Gasps ripple. The same mouths that spat insults now hang open. Cole's smirk flickers, unease breaking through. Harper reloads calmly, as if her heart isn't pounding, as if she isn't carrying the weight of every laugh, every scar, every word like patchwork. Sixth shot. Ping. Seventh. ping. By the 8th, silence consumes the range. Not a laugh, not a jeer, just the echo of perfection. The 9th shot lands. Ping. Now all eyes are wide. The scoreboard reads 90.0, 9 for 9. The soldiers shift uneasily. Their cruel captions die unspoken. For the first time, Harper feels their silence, not mocking, stunned. She lifts her rifle one final time. The desert wind gusts, tugging her braid across her face, dust swirling like a challenge. She breathes with it, steadies. The 10th shot cracks through the stillness. Ping. Perfect. The scoreboard blazes. 100.00, new record. No soldier has ever done it. Not on that lane. Not in these winds. Not under those eyes. The crowd is frozen, their disbelief painted across every face. Phones lower slowly, their recordings no longer trophies of humiliation, but evidence of history. Sergeant Cole's grin has vanished. His jaw tightens, his knuckles white as he grips his clipboard. Colonel Anders' arms unfold. For the first time all day, his eyes soften, a glimmer of respect breaking through. Harper lowers her rifle, her movements calm, deliberate. She doesn't smile, she doesn't gloat, she just stands, scar catching the sunlight, her silence louder than any celebration. Because proof isn't loud, proof doesn't need to shout, proof rings like steel in the desert air. 10 perfect shots that no one can deny. The scoreboard still blazes, 100.00, new record. The desert heat feels different now, like the air itself respects her. But Harper doesn't stop at 10. She steps back, reloads with a calm precision that unsettles the crowd. Each movement is methodical, quiet, deliberate. Sergeant Cole barks, desperate to reclaim control. Beginner's luck. Anyone can string a few shots together. Sloan, prove it wasn't a fluke. Harper doesn't answer. She sets her stance again. Cole waves toward the tower at the far end of the range. Flags up full crosswind. Soldiers scramble, raising the red and yellow signal flags. The gusts sweep harder now, dragging dust sideways across the field. Even the elite shooters here avoid firing under these conditions. Cole smirks. Let's see her patchwork skills now. The recruits chuckle nervously. They want to believe it's over. Harper tilts her head, watching the wind ripple across the flags, the dust dancing in invisible currents. Her father's words echo again. The wind tells a story. Read it. Don't fight it. She exhales. Fires. Ping. Dead center. A stunned silence. She fires again. Ping. Another bullseye. By the 5th shot, the recruits shift restlessly. One mutters, impossible. Another whispers, she's reading the wind like it's nothing. By the 10th, the scoreboard screams, another perfect run. 2 records, back to back. In conditions that should break any shooter. Cole's face burns red. He grips his clipboard so tight the wood creaks. Fine, speed trial, 10 shots, 30 seconds. If you're as good as you think, prove it under pressure. The recruits murmur. No one hits perfect scores under time. Even seasoned veterans choke. Harper sets her jaw. She doesn't argue, she just nods once. Cole clicks the stopwatch. Go! The rifle cracks. Ping, again, ping. The rhythm is relentless, a drumbeat of defiance. Each shot lands faster than the last, her breathing steady, her movements almost mechanical. Dust swirls around her boots, shell casings glitter in the dirt, the scar on her cheek shining with sweat. 27 seconds later, she lowers her rifle. The scoreboard glows, 100.00, 27.4s. New speed record. The recruits don't cheer. They're too stunned. Phones tremble in their hands. Their laughter has curdled into awe. Colonel Anders steps forward at last, his boots crunching in the silence. His voice carries like thunder. In 40 years, I have never seen marksmanship like this. The recruits stiffen. His words are gospel here. Anders turns to Cole, his gaze sharp. You dismissed her as dead weight. You mocked her scars. Today she just broke 3 records you've never touched. Cole's smirk is gone. His lips press thin, his face pale. Anders faces the formation. Let it be known. Lieutenant Sloan is no quota, she is a soldier, a sniper, and from this day, her name is the new standard. The silence breaks, but not with laughter, with something heavier, respect, reluctant, quiet at first, but real. Harper doesn't bow, doesn't smile. She simply shoulders her rifle, scar shining in the desert sun, and steps back, because she doesn't need their applause. The proof already spoke. The desert range is silent. The scoreboard still blazes her name across 3 records. Dust swirls in the heat, carrying the weight of everything that just happened. But Sergeant Cole isn't ready to surrender. His pride claws at him. He snatches his own rifle, loads fast, and storms to the firing line. Anyone can get lucky. Watch a real soldier show you how it's done. The recruits lean forward, desperate to see him salvage his authority. Cole fires. Ping, a bullseye. The crowd exhales. He fires again. 8.9. The scoreboard flickers red. His jaw tightens, sweat trickles. He rushes the shots, his rhythm sloppy. The 3rd misses wide. The 4th skims the edge. By the 7th, his grouping falls apart. By the 10th, his score reads a mediocre 74.3. A hollow silence falls. His reputation cracks in front of everyone. Harper doesn't gloat. She steps forward, her rifle cradled like an extension of herself. She stops just beside him. The scar on her cheek catches the sun as she speaks for the first time that day. Her voice is calm, low, unshakable. You wanted proof. Now you have it. She shoulders the rifle, fires once more. Ping. Perfect center. The scoreboard updates. Extra shot. Bullseye. The recruits erupt. Not with laughter, not with mockery, but with stunned respect. Phones lower. Recording no longer feels like ridicule, but reverence. Cole stands frozen, clipboard limp at his side, sweat streaking his face. He has nothing left to say. Colonel Anders's voice slices through the air. Lessons over. Remember what you witnessed today. Skill is not loud. It is precise. Every head bows slightly toward Harper, not out of pity, out of respect. She lowers her rifle, calm as ever. Her silence says what words never could. Then, with a faint exhale, she delivers the line that will haunt every soldier who mocked her. Deadweight doesn't break records. The desert wind finally cools as the sun dips lower, shadows stretching long across the range. The scoreboard still glows, her name etched in light. The recruits gather their rifles, but none of them laugh now. The same soldiers who jeered, who whispered patchwork like a curse, avoid her eyes. Their silence isn't cruel anymore. It's heavy, respectful. Sergeant Cole stands apart, clipboard hanging useless at his side. His pride lies shattered among the spent casings at Harper's boots. He doesn't speak. He doesn't dare. Colonel Anders steps closer, his voice even, steady. Lieutenant Sloan, from this day forward, the range remembers your name, and so will every soldier here. It isn't flowery praise. It doesn't need to be. Coming from Anders, it's more than a medal. It's recognition carved into the bedrock of this base. Harper gives a single nod, then turns, rifle slung over her shoulder. She walks past the formation, her boots crunching over gravel, her scar catchy. She answered with precision, with discipline, with truth no one could deny. If you've ever been underestimated, tell your story in the comments. Someone needs to hear it. And don't forget, subscribe for the next tale of resilience. Because the underdog doesn't stay down. Not forever. The desert wind finally cools as the sun dips lower, shadows stretching long across the range. The scoreboard still glows, her name etched in light. The story will spread, beyond the range, beyond the base. Soldiers will whisper it at outposts, at camps, in mess halls. A reminder that scars are not shame, that silence is not weakness, that sometimes the soldier they dismiss is the one who sets the standard. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been mocked, you know her story, and you know what comes next. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us the moment you proved them wrong.